think they're trying to keep us distracted. It's free to pay attention. Yeah.
Don't be distracted by the beams that people put into play. Instead, focus on the freedoms people tearing away. It's all confusion. They turning UFOs into UAPs. To test the public on the subject, change the mood and see how we react. Knowing we've been visited back before Egyptians stacked stones with exact mathematical dimensions with attention to match. Before the days of Pangea when the continent cracked. Stupid humans just been covering tracks. Earth is just a puddle in the sea of what's been attached. I know a couple hybrids living on the planet. In fact, they might be living next to you. You ever think about that? Be the vibe. If you're feeling lost, tune to the tone. We might be living in a dome, but we're never alone. Send a rocket to the moon, let it curve on its own. It's a distraction, but that's all that I can see on this phone.
We're caught up in a blue beam, distracted by design, while shooting down illusions, indoctrinating minds. They wanna see us panic, to put us back in line. The people have awoken and see right through the lies. It's all a distraction. It's a part of the game that we play. They don't need a reaction. Don't you give them strength, meditate. It's all a distraction. But the people are finding a way to take positive action and spread truth to the ones that
hidden
relate.
right in plain view, blueprint has been laid out. Played rat in the maze, getting stuck in the same route. Lost, feeling exhausted, breaking the frame down. So breathe, raise your vibration and phase out. Resonant, every thought's related to fate, and they don't want to let you know that you're designed to be great. Who's that? Good question, start checking your mate. They play chess, not checkers. In the darkness they wait. Peep the games that they playing, using holograms till they got the praying, and that's all that I'm saying. Project Bluebeam and the plans that they laying get me hotter than the flames that surround Super Saiyans. God-like, like the godson that be star bright, living in the fractal, speaking to evolve like an oceanic alien. The no more is on sight, reminding you to never get distracted. It's all right.
We're caught up in a blue beam, distracted by design, while shooting down illusions, indoctrinating minds. They wanna see us panic, to put us back in line. The people have awoken and see right through the lies. It's all a distraction. It's a part of the game that we play. They don't need a reaction. Don't you give them strength, meditate. It's all a distraction. But the people are finding a way to take positive action and spread truth to the ones that relate.
See us divided, so they feed us negativity. They put it on the plate and we just eat it up for dinner. See, we allow the panic but never address the lunacy. The current currency gotta be some foolery. It needs to flow with unity, floating with opportunity. Abundance is a class and I'm waiting for God to tutor me. Teach me and let me reach all the people that need the guidance. Allow me to give them visions of all this positive knowledge.
It's all a distraction. It's a part of the game that we play. They don't need a reaction. Don't you give them the strength, meditate. It's all a distraction. But the people are finding a way to take positive action and spread truth to the ones that relate.
Don't get distracted. Yeah. I think they're trying to keep us.
Hey everyone, it's Rhyme the Codega here, guiding you through the swirling fog of the unknown once again. Tonight's episode is not just for the faint of heart, but for those brave souls who dare to look beyond the veil. We're cracking it open, the mysteries of our reality, digging deep into the unexplainable, the bizarre, and just the plain weird. So, I always talk about cryptids, UFOs, parallel dimensions, portals, and everything in between on this show. But tonight, it's going to be something different. because you, my curious listeners, are the center of the conversation. That's right. This is the live call-in show, my C2C, and we're inviting you to share your strangest, spookiest, and most mind-boggling experience. You ever seen something you just can't quite explain? Maybe a UFO in the sky, a shadow out of the corner of your eye, or an encounter with a creature that simply shouldn't exist. Well, this is your night to get it off your chest. And I'm not just navigating this ship alone. Nope. Joining me are two of the most fearless explorers of the unknown, Brad from the Awaken podcast, and hopefully Matt from Planet 4112 when he gets here. We're here to dissect your stories, share our wild theories, and of course, add to the ever-growing codex of curiosities that we're all trying to make sense of. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Brad on as he's waiting in the wings. Brad, good to have you back as usual. Welcome again to the Codex of Curiosities. Oh, you are muted. You are muted.
Well, yeah, I'm always muted. I'm always messing things up. No, I was just saying I'd like to call in with my encounter. I encountered a Codega today.
Oh, geez. What
yeah,
Codega did you encounter? Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So anything new and exciting on in the land of the awakened?
Yeah. First of all your listeners are always amazing to me. And thank you guys for your support all the time. I really appreciate that. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be in Florida at the Bohemian Grove with the Nephilim Death Squad, with the Paranoid American and a few other podcasters. I think maybe Tower Gang, some other guys going to be down there. So
is One Eye Alice is going to be there too, right?
I don't know if he's going to be there for sure or not.
Okay.
I don't think he's far from that area, but I don't think he's going to be there. So, but yeah, other than that, man, I'm on Spotify and Apple. Please follow my show. Give the show a rating on whatever platform you can. I'd really appreciate that. It helps us out a lot. I don't think people really know what that means. So when you give us a rating, it helps us in the rankings, and it helps us gives us a listener score and things like that. And what happens is a lot of times when people go to, like, if we invite someone on our show for an interview, the first thing they're going to do is go check the listener notes or the listen notes, and they're going to check the ratings, and they're going to check things like that. And they're going to see if we're legitimate, podcasters. So they're not going to want to waste their time on somebody who doesn't have good ratings or what have you. So anytime you can rate shows like ours and follow the show and things like that, it really helps out a lot. We got to try to beat the algorithms here. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And speaking of weird things happening, our viewers dropped down from like 10. 10 is kind of a normal start, to 0. We're back up to 1. I'm like, what is going on with YouTube? I'm having issues with YouTube personally. So who knows? But yeah, I agree totally. Rating us is huge, and even interacting on our in our comments is big as well. For on YouTube, that's a huge thing. Interaction in the comments is amazing. And so if you guys can do that, that's fantastic. I saw, Diana was going through all my library. She's been watching the last couple of days, like watching every single episode and commenting on every single one. And it's awesome. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Also, Brad, you're on Rumble too. You're on YouTube. You don't really do much on YouTube, but you are on Rumble too. You and I just did a show with Jim Lee there last weekend.
Yeah, we're doing and please follow Rye on get his presence built up on Rumble as well.
It's a little low, but that it is what it is.
Well, yeah, mine too. I mean, I'm still like I got followers, but I only got 2 videos on there now. I just did a live with Cesar Pagan from Beyond the Frequency podcast today, and that was awesome. We didn't have a lot of live listeners. Obviously, it was Thursday during like 12 o'clock, so I wasn't expecting a lot of listeners and stuff. Anyways, we were just kind of testing things, and I'm trying to get my bearings right with the going live and getting used to the idea of it. So it was more or less a practice. But it was really good content. We talked a lot about a lot of good stuff. So yeah, if you could follow me on Rumble and YouTube, that would help out a lot as well. But I feel like podcasters have this, like, I feel like there's So you're an audio guy, right? You've listened to radio for a long time, right?
Yes. I wouldn't really call myself an audio guy, but yeah, I've listened to radio for a long time. Yeah.
What I mean is what is the
Well,
word?
the podcast. Like
Is it audible? I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying, you like to listen. You can listen while you work and things like that. There's
yeah. So like,
some people like to watch.
Yes, I'm a listener because I don't have the time to sit down and watch, so I like to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, so I forgot the word of that, but so for podcast, like I feel like my show on Spotify and Apple and all the other podcast or all the other platforms is more of a listener's podcast, right? It's like you can just listen, you don't have to watch. But I'm doing these live shows and stuff as just to give people something else too that they can, for people who like to watch, who are more like sit down and get a beer and just hang out and watch the show or whatever the case is. So there's two different things. It's funny because like I just had a conversation with Paul Stobbs a little bit about this on Instagram chat. We were just talking about like, he was saying that, he just started his podcast on Spotify. He's trying to build it up. He didn't just start it. He's trying to build it up. Okay. But he was like, but I got a ton of followers on YouTube, and I'm just the opposite. I kind of want to build up the followers on YouTube and Rumble and stuff. And he wants to, so I'm good on Spotify. So I think there's a difference in the listeners, the type of listeners that you get.
I agree. It's kind of like, yeah, there are two different things. Like personally for myself, I'd rather watch the lives than sit and watch a regular episode on YouTube because I'd rather listen to it on the go. I'll listen a bit, pause it, or I'll download it to my phone and listen and pause it and listen at my convenience. But the lives, yeah, I like to get there. What is Nancy saying? I wish I could attend all your shows, but life gets in the way. Just had a new grandbaby. Oh, congratulations, Nancy. And so did P. Jean. She had a grandbaby as well. I forgot. I keep forgetting that I can toss up the comments as well.
Yeah. Oh, hey. So right now, like I can read the comments, but I have to look behind my camera because my camera is like right in front of my computer. So I have to like peek around. So yeah, thanks for putting those up. So if you're saying hi and I don't say hi back, it's literally because I got a giant camera this big just sitting right in front of my face.
That's why I've moved my camera off to the side. I did have it on top of my computer, but I didn't like that angle. So I moved mine a little bit to the side. So I have like this side view. And there we go. Yes.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Side or your bad side? Yes.
Yeah, I just got a terrible profile. I got a giant forehead and a little flat face. So like it's not very flattering to look at myself the whole time while I'm trying to talk.
Fantastic. So. Well, So what we're going to do is in just a few minutes here, I'm going to share the link. You can click on the link. You will come in. You don't have to put on a camera, but if you have a phone, just put on your headset and, we'll just put up a blank thing for you. And by all means, you can share any experience at all. That's what the show is about. I was telling Brad, so for those, I haven't really told many people, but I have started one of my dreams that I've always wanted to do is keep bees, to be a beekeeper. And that's something that I just actually started on Saturday. Saturday was my first, I went out, bought some hives and brought them back to my father-in-law's land and put them on the land. And so I started taking care of them. And the first couple of days, everything was great, and today, my one friend who has a lot of hives was kind of guiding me along, telling me what I should do. And he's like, you should, take the tops off and check to make sure everything is okay. Because, I did transport them like, 30, 40K kilometers. So today I went to the one hive and I took the top off and they were kind of buzzing around. Wasn't really anything too bad. And I was able to change the frames. Like some of the frames had fallen in. So I moved them all, got them all organized, and it was good. Put the top back on. Then I went to the next hive and this one I pulled off, and this hive had about double the amount of the population of the colony. And when I took it off, they started buzzing me a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's fine. And so I put the top off to the side and I start changing these frames, moving these frames. And then I can start to feel around my ankles, this pricking kind of feeling. And I'm like, Oh my gosh, I am getting stung multiple times on my ankles. And I need to finish this. So I was like hurrying, finishing this. And I did have my smoker, but the fire inside had kind of gone out. It had kind of got snuffed out. So there really was not much smoke at all, which is lesson learned. And also another lesson learned is I need to double up on my socks. So what you make sure you tuck your pants into your socks so they don't climb up your pants. And I have like the rest of the outfit and I have the gloves on and everything, but they still got me a couple times through the gloves because they have the gloves stretch down on your arm about this far. And there was a couple spots where the material was kind of tight on my arm, and they found that and they stung me a couple times. But on my right foot really got lit up. I minimum 6 or 7 times I got stung. And I was like, okay, that hurts. Yeah. But it really started to hurt about 3 hours ago, 3-4 hours ago. So I was like, okay, that hurts. So whatever, I put some stuff on it and tea tree oil, some baking soda, and just deal with it.
Well, I'm sure there's a saying about it. Don't mess around with bees and you get stung or something like that. I'm sure there's a saying somewhere in Confucius or something like that said.
Yeah, exactly. Leave a sleeping colony lie or something like that. Or just make sure you're well prepared. But like the first times that I went, everything was great. Like I could see the one colony was a little more aggressive than the other colony. I was like, okay, that's not a problem. But I didn't get stung or anything. But I feel though that what happened today, as misfortunate as it was a great lesson learned. It's like, okay, I got to make sure I am much more prepared, and take them seriously. And it was kind of like, I also feel that it's a bit of a meditation as well. You go in there and you need to stay calm. Like, because once you start breathing a lot, your carbon dioxide, they detect that. And that's where they can, what did you I did not, Nancy. Am I supposed to tell them, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm your new beekeeper. I don't know. So that's let me know, Nancy, what you say about that. That's interesting. But yeah, so that's my news story for now. Really interesting. So
very interesting. Yeah, I have a couple acres of land here in South Carolina, man, and I just want to start doing all of that. Getting my own honey and getting my own eggs and growing my own food. I have all the resources and land to do it. So, I don't know why I haven't done it yet.
I think I'll be honest, it's the initial step. It's that first step. It's kind of like us starting our podcast. I'm sure you had this in your mind for quite some time. And it's something you wanted to do, but then you're like, you almost need a kick in the ass to go and do it. And then you finally go and do it. So maybe that's the same thing with this. Like this was my friend that was really, hang on. The old saying, here we go. Nancy says, the old saying to tell the bees when their owner dies, I guess being the new owner would be like that. I guess so. Okay. Yeah. And I guess why not talk to the bees? So, okay. So I shared this link to a couple of people before, and we already have someone on. So I'm going to, where's Sunny? So Sunny Cat 85, if you can hang around, we do have a guest that's already on. So Brad, if you're ready, we're going to bring, I don't know if I'll let him introduce himself. Harley Owens.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Harley. And yourself?
I'm doing all right. Just staying busy, man. That's all there is nowadays. Everything's just hectic,
You're definitely from North Carolina.
No, East Tennessee.
East Tennessee. Okay, well that's close. I mean, yeah, that's close.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
You're in South Carolina, you said?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What part?
Near the border of North Carolina, so up the northern part of South Carolina. Yeah.
Are you to National Forest? Do you know where that's at?
I couldn't hear you. You broke up a little bit.
Nantahala National Forest. Do you know where that's at?
That doesn't sound familiar. No.
It's like where Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina all meet right in there, kind of.
Okay, yeah, that's way northwest. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm like northeast. I'm closer to Myrtle Beach side. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've spent many summers at Myrtle Beach. So.
Yeah, well, that was where Myrtle Beach is where we all went as teenagers to for spring break and stuff. We didn't go to Panama City like you see on
exactly.
TV.
Yeah,
we went to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, dirty Myrtle.
Yep.
Awesome. So, well, Harley, why don't you introduce yourself? For those who don't know who you are, I know you've been on the show now like 3 times. This is 3, and then you were part
This
of.
is
You were
4,
on.
I think.
Yeah, the 4th would be the Lost Frequency as well. If we included the Lost Frequency, that would be 4.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but
that is.
Yeah, let's. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where they can find you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that don't know me, my name is Harley Owens. I have the Facebook group Bigfoot Reports and Data, as well as a YouTube channel. I came from a skeptic non-believer to believer in these creatures. Had my first experience in 2020. Shattered my worldview. I stopped hunting and fishing for 3 years, and last Thanksgiving I overcome what I thought was a fear of these creatures, and I took it upon myself to start researching. So December 7th, 2023, I started researching, and I've since had more experiences and encounters with these creatures, not to mention Dogman. And finding other strange stuff throughout these mountains. And Rye, I don't know if Rye still has the picture or not, but I found a 3-toed track in there, and I'm like, he brought it up as an ostrich, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure there's no ostriches running around in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
I used to work on an ostrich farm right here in South Carolina. I'm not even kidding.
Well, some of them got
it's possible.
Or it could be some sort of dinosaur as well. I don't know if I actually have any of those pictures available. I might have gotten rid of them, but that being said, that's fine. So Harley, like, you've had multiple experiences. Like, when you decided that's it, I'm going to go back out.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about your Dogman experience, the one that was tracking you and the one that you saw and that was kind of like pacing you in the woods. But before we get there, so I want to set the stage here. So Harley had this one experience that changed his mind. And, it was a Bigfoot leaning out, staring at him. And you got a good picture of it. And it killed his phone, literally killed his phone. And then you also got some recordings as well that do sound slightly like elk, but you say there's no elk in the area. They sound a little off, which is, we know that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, like, they imitate other, and I think a lot of other cryptids actually imitate other wildlife, and that's how they communicate, how they get around it all. So, but Harley headed back out. I think you went into a cemetery. Your first trip back out was into a cemetery, but it's been, I don't want to say downhill from there. It's been tons of experience after this.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the question is, why? Do you feel that you are targeted, or that you have some sort of special, like maybe like a blood type, or do you feel that it's something else?
I'm glad that you brought that up. So my episode with the confessionals just dropped, and Tony brought something to my attention that it's a blood type, and only 15% of the population has this, and it's RH negative.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, that's my blood type.
No shit.
Swear to you.
Because they say 50% of the population has the RH negative. Then they said, if I recall, there's something like over 90% of all the RH negatives have some sort of paranormal experience.
Yep.
So that's like Nephilim bloodline, isn't it? RH negative.
Exactly right.
I think so.
Yep.
So do you feel, because like they talked in the Bible how they wanted the Nephilim to fight each other and kind of like destroy each other? Yep. Do you feel that because you have this bloodline that it's this, this urge, this to seek each other out, kind of like what is that, like the Highlander? There can only be one, go out and kill each other, kind of thing.
Exactly right. And it's like a temptation. I feel like that's where I need to be, is out there looking for these things. And it's just an urge that it's like an addiction. But you go out seeking these things. And it's spiritual warfare, honestly. 100%. This is all spiritual stuff. And if y'all haven't, it's episode 698 of the Confessionals, East Tennessee Bigfoot. And we dived into a lot of it, the woo side of it, and I have made two more people's first encounters happen. I don't know if you remember George or not, George Lunsford. I made his first encounter happen back January 7th. And then June 23rd, I made another man's first experience happen. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
So you're a magnet. So if people want, I don't know if you're in for this, but if people are interested in contacting or having an experience with Bigfoot, they should hit you up. Maybe come see you.
Listen, I have taken several other people out aside from those two.
Yeah.
Nothing, no visuals, but we would hear them, you know, or something along those lines. Actually, I have a new piece of audio that I got from this area.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
7th. I'm still trying to clean it up.
Okay.
But we were listening to, me and my buddy Rick, we were listening to the Republican convention, and Hulk Hogan was talking. And all of a sudden, he was on the phone with his wife, and we hear this roar. It echoes all throughout this valley that we're in. And we looked at each other, like I looked at him, my eyes were about to pop out of my head. My jaw was dropped like this, and it was a roar. And he looked at me, he said, that was a roar. I said, yeah. He said, let's go. I said, all right. So we left. And not to mention, so this last Saturday, October 23rd.
I watched the video. You sent me.
Yeah. Yeah. Check this bad dude out.
Oh, you got a footprint. Cool, man.
Yeah. 15 inches long, 8 inches across at the toes, and almost 5 inches at the heel. It's got a really distinct mid-tarsal break kind of right in this area right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but about where all my chin is, this area right here is where its mid-tarsal break is. So I was tickled to death, man, when this thing came up, because I've tried to cast other tracks, and like they cracked or broke and into a million pieces, and I was just hoping and praying that this one would come up, and it did, and I'm just like, holy cow, man. I was crying in the woods. I was so happy. Because it's been like 10 months hiking mile and mile and miles, slipping and falling, you know, trying to avoid getting bit by snakes, getting spiders all in my face, and this made it worth it.
That is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say your name Harley Owens. First of all, sounds like an '80s wrestler, so that fits in with the Hulk Hogan. Makes me think of Harley Race. But what I had it when I was on the confessionals as well, man. I was on like 620 something. I can't remember what it was, but right after I was on there, some guy from my hometown area where I'm from, he figured out where I was from. I didn't say it on air, but I said about different places, and he kind of figured out. So he messaged me, and he got my number and everything, and he called me. He's like, he was telling me everything that basically you're saying, but like he got scared. Like he used to go hunting, and he had these encounters and stuff, and he just became terrified of hunting for forever. But he hunted his whole life until that happened, and then it became this thing to where he couldn't even stand to look at the woods because it was just so terrifying to him. Is that what happened to you? I don't know the story yet. I mean, I'll listen to the confessionals episode, but
I stopped for 3 years, and I had nightmares about it, and I wouldn't talk about it to anybody. And it got to the point from where my now wife, she was like, you need to talk about this. You have a story that needs to be told. And the first podcast I ever jumped on was Bigfoot Society with Jeremiah Byron, and I was like, you know what, I can keep telling this story. I can get it out there. And then by the time the Thanksgiving around last year, I was like, you know what, I'm hitting the woods. I'm going hunting, and I did. I killed an 8-point, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out looking for these things, and I got a lot more than what I bargained for. But before where I stand now and what I think they are, I used to think that they were Gigantopithecus. That's what I thought, and I have dramatically changed my mind on that since then. It was after my second experience. I was surrounded by 3 of them on December 14th. I had one in front of me that I've visually seen. We locked eyes for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then to my left, there was a loud pop of a branch, and there was one stomping in place behind me. And And when I looked into that thing's eyes, I knew there was a humanness to it. You know, I just didn't understand what it was like looking at another human, although this thing had black eyes and it was reddish hair and gray skin. I realized there was something different about this. You know, it's not just an ape. And, you know, I've done more digging into it, and I looked every way possible into a biblical point of view, you know, because my faith is everything to me. And I thought maybe Cain, you know, because Cain was cursed to be a restless wanderer of the earth. And then I looked into Esau, you know, because race of red-haired giants, and then the Nephilim, and that is strictly where Scott Carpenter had stood on these beings, and I'm a firm believer in that. That's what they are. Now, I don't think that they're the true Nephilim, because the true Nephilim were giants. I believe that these are the children of the Nephilim, which are called the Eliud.
Yes. Yeah, dude, I just did a great episode with Paul Stobbs from Understanding Conspiracy. He wrote the book Nephilim Look Like Clowns. Dude, I'm a dummy, but he lays it out. He laid basically the lineage out in this, you know, like 15-minute section of time of the episode. And I have to keep going back and listening again, because I'm like, oh man, he's studied this stuff for so long. He's figured it all out. And he's kind of figured out what also about the national forest. Like, these are just sort of the hiding grounds for these things, for these Nephilim, for the and you know, during the millennium reign of Christ. So it's pretty interesting. He's got a really good theory on it, man. But for those who are listening, go check it out if you want. Not shameless plug. I'm not trying to plug, but it was just coincidental that we were just talking about this, dude. So
it definitely makes, you know, a biblical understanding of this, because it's all in the text, you know, and it makes you wonder why the book of Enoch is not actually in the Bible, you know, and it's separate from it. And, you know, it's changed, altered from what it actually is, I'm sure. But, you know, all the answers are in the Bible, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, of course they take books out of the Bible. I mean, they ban websites from online right in front of our faces. You know, they ban episodes that I've been on talking about earth energies and stuff. You know, I mean, it's not a surprise that, you know, a major portion of the piece of the puzzle is taken out of the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And, you know, I think the Dogman are hellhounds. Honestly, that's what I think they are. Or if not, some type of, you know, fallen angel offspring, because the fallen angels just didn't procreate with human women, they procreated with animals too.
I'm not sure if I would call them fallen angel offspring in that sense. I think they are, because they also said they manipulated the genome, you know, and they created, so or maybe it's a little it makes a little bit of everything, you know. It's I have multiple theories about Dogman, multiple theories.
Well, I will say this, you know, when you look into the eyes of a Bigfoot, it's different from looking into the eyes of a Dogman, you know, because I locked eyes with one of these Dogman on January 29th. You know, it was large. It was 8 foot tall, not including the ears, over almost 4 foot at the shoulders. And from the spot that it was laying to the tree that was 15 yards away from me was 28 feet, and it took that in 3 steps. That's an 8.5 foot stride. This creature, very raccoon looking like hands, had a mane running down its back, had a big poofy tail like a fox's, but this thing didn't have backwards facing legs like most stories that you hear. This thing had forward facing legs like a human, and which leads me to believe that this is some kind of genetically made creature, whether it be by government or who knows what. But when you look into the eyes of one of these creatures, it's different. It's everything flashes before your eyes, and this thing wants to kill you. It is an apex predator.
So it can kill you, but it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, I got away from it. Yes, but this is the kicker, though. I remember distinctly that I prayed before I went into the woods, and that was my wake up call. And now, so little story about this track. So Friday I was supposed to go out, and I didn't, because George called me up. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm at home, about to leave to go to the woods." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, don't go." And he said, "If you go, keep your head on a swivel." He said, "Somebody just called me up, and, you know, they had a vision of you being attacked and killed by a Dogman." And I'm like, whoa, Whoa. I said, stop right there. I said, say it again. He said, somebody had a vision of you being attacked and killed by a Dogman. And I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to hear, And my buddies from Virginia, they were down and they were like, well, just don't let it stop you. We got guns and stuff. We'll keep you safe. And I'm just like, I just need time to think about it tonight. So I ended up going out Saturday and we had found this track and that wasn't the only person that had something fishy, like a vision of me. I had 2 other people call me and say, I got a bad feeling something's going to happen to you. What are you doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy, Harley.
I know. And, and I know the exact spot down to a T where I'm supposed to be attacked and killed by this thing.
Really?
Where you still are, or where you were supposed to?
Where I was supposed to be.
Okay.
Or where it's supposed to happen. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it down to a T.
Well,
so I'm laying low from the woods for probably a week and waiting it out. So I would be too. I need heavy power. I need firepower. I need something more than a 9.
I gave Tony some silver bullets, dude. Whenever I met up with him, and I don't know if he still has some, but you oughta hit him up. I could probably get you some if you want me to send you some, man. I'd be glad to do that. I mean, they're pretty expensive. I mean, they're like $100, for a box of them.
And I personally,
223.
I personally fully believe that the only way these things can be killed is in the head. I don't know if y'all have heard this or not, but Daniel Boone actually shot and killed a Bigfoot.
He's my cousin. He's my distant relative.
Really?
Daniel Boone. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Dude,
my family's
that's crazy.
My family's from Hickory, North Carolina area.
Oh, okay. So Daniel Boone and his son were out, and they got separated somehow, and Daniel Boone heard a commotion over about 70, 80 yards away from him, and he looks and he sees his son being body slammed by this Bigfoot. Like he seen it body slam him 2 times, and when it went up to do it the 3rd time, he shot it in the eye and killed it. And he went to do an autopsy on it and whatnot, and he said that the chest area was just nothing but like solid bone, and a bullet couldn't have penetrated it. So that was a little interesting story about that.
So I wonder if there's got to be something to it with all these stories of crosses getting rid of vampires and silver bullets getting rid of werewolves. Just definitely, there's got to be something to that. You know what I mean?
There's something about iron as well. There's something about iron as well too.
Yeah, iron like traps ghosts or something, or like
and wolfsbane. Salt as well. Salt is always something as well to keep on you too. Like to salt. You should always salt the outside of your property. Just draw a line of salt. But before you do that, make sure you clear the area first. So I just want to say something. So Sunny Cat's in the wing. Harley, if you want to tell us any more, please do, and then I'll let Sunny Cat come on.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to Rye. If you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Brad, it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, bud.
I can get your content from Rye, and I can follow you on all your platforms.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I might. If you would like, I can come on your show and talk a little bit.
Anytime, man. I'd love that. For sure.
Yeah.
And I also know oh my gosh, Blake from Mountain Man Explore the Truth. He was saying that he would like to have you on his show as well. He took a little bit of a hiatus from podcasting due to work, but he's up in Oregon, and he definitely is interested as well.
Harley, Bo, if you want to ever come down to South Carolina, I could put you on the spot where some stuff is. It's where I'm from, like the home I grew up in. So if you ever looking for him, I don't think you are. It sounds like you kind of trying to get away from him, but I can definitely put you on to him.
I might have to make a weekend trip out of that. Yeah, absolutely. And load the camper up with the wife and kids and head on.
That's cool, man.
Right.
That would be awesome. You guys do a live like that? You do a live like
man.
that? That would be awesome. Harley, as always, man, you're always welcome on, and you always got some great stuff to share. I always appreciate
Yes.
it.
And I appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody, enough. God bless y'all and stay prayed up.
Oh, and just one last thing, Mountain Man Blake. I just told Harley that you wanted him on your show, so he said he'll reach out to you. Okay. Perfect.
All
Perfect.
right,
Yeah.
y'all.
Take
All
care,
right.
Harley. Good
Thanks,
to
Harley.
see you, buddy. See
Bye
you,
bye.
man.
All right, that's Harley. Harley's quite a character, man, and he's had some. That's really interesting with the RH blood, man. Very.
Well, you can go ahead and bring the guest on if you want. I have the MC1R gene, which prevents you from going to sleep. Like I can't be put to sleep easily. Like there's like anesthesia, like redheaded people or people who are born with blonde hair. Yeah, we have this thing that where you can't put us to sleep. So I wonder if there's like these ancient factions of people who fight against the RH negatives or whatever. Like these different blood types that fight against each other, and we've just all been mixed. Nice to meet you, buddy. See it, same here.
I agree. All right, let's bring Sunny Cat on. Sunny Cat, welcome to Codega's Codex of Curiosities, the C2C call-in show. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
hear you perfectly.
Cool. So I got 2 stories. One is a family story that like my grandma told me and my mom and all that, and another one is like a dream that happened to me a few years ago. It's pretty crazy.
I love the dream ones because I have these crazy ass dreams all the time. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But also this generational one. Let's start with that.
All right. So this is my great uncle Bobby. He was in the 1st Cavalry Division, 7th Regiment. That's Custer's regiment in Vietnam.
Okay.
So he's in Vietnam. He's I forget which country it was, but he was definitely in a country he wasn't supposed to be in, right? It was like a Laos or Cambodia, something like that. He was a cavalry scout. So they went out way ahead of everyone else and would like ambush and attack the enemy where they would do R&R and stuff like that. And so I guess he's out there one night. My great grandfather, so it's like, my great uncle's dad, right? So it kind of gets confusing. So my great uncle's dad, he has a dream, right? And he goes, "You have a dream Bobby's coming out of like a tent or something. He has a full beard, right? Full beard, no helmet on, and some dude's yelling at him saying, 'God damn it, Bobby, I told you to put a damn helmet on and shave your face.'" Well, he's telling him this in a letter, right? So he's over there, and because they're places where they're not really supposed to be, there's mail sensors. So I guess he kind of got in trouble. Allegedly, he got in trouble with something to do with he was telling him about the location or something like that. But he definitely got in trouble by mail sensors. So that's kind of crazy too. But I guess my Uncle Bobby says from his part is, when they go on these long patrols, they obviously wouldn't shave their face and he wouldn't wear a helmet. And an officer came back and was yelling at him saying, "Hey," he like just came back from a long patrol and the officer's like, "Hey, shave your face, put your damn helmet on." So I guess it wasn't a premonition. I don't know what you would call it, but he said it definitely happened and like he had the dream. Now there's another one. Now this gets better. So he did like a year tour. So a few months later, my great grandpa wakes up. He goes, "Bobby's been shot." And they're like, "What?" He's like, "Bobby's been shot." So turns out, of course, like 4 days, 5 days later, they get a call. He was in fact shot. They were doing some patrol. He was shot in the stomach. He said he fell in the water. A hand reached down and grabbed him, threw him on the shore, and he lay there for like a few hours before another patrol found him. But
was there anybody with him when he was out on patrol?
Yeah, there was, but I'm assuming they got ambushed or something. But he was in fact shot, and said someone reached down in the water, like he was in a river. You know what I mean? And he was shot like in a river, wounded, shot in the stomach, and probably gonna drown. They said a hand reached out, grabbed him, threw him on the banking, and he was alone for hours. And then a dude found him, and I remember when I was a little kid, because where they weren't supposed to be, doing those patrols and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it took him forever to get recognition. Like even like not only like awards, like he ended up getting a Bronze Star with Valor, which means he received it during a combat action. He had oak leaf, Purple Heart with oak leaf clusters because he had multiple wounds. But he had a hard time getting even like a medical treatment for his wounds because he got wounded where they weren't supposed to be, right? So it was all like classified and stuff. And they had to go through the Senate. It was crazy. But that's my that's my
So
generational story.
is that kind of like setting up the stage for your dream story as well? Because this is that's kind of unique. You know, your so that was your great uncle, and so that was your great great grandfather then.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was his. Yes, it would be like my great great grandpa.
Okay, and he
had the
definitely
premonitions.
Yeah, he definitely had a strong connection then with his son. Then that is crazy. That's unique. That is really cool.
Yeah, it was nuts. So the one with mine is I don't know if it's I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it was like a. All right. I don't like thinking about this one because it's really weird and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. And I'm kind of thinking I don't know if I was like supposed to die or something that night and didn't
Ooh.
die. I don't know, but it was very uncomfortable. So we so one night I don't dream very much, right? Usually I go to sleep, it's blackness, I wake up, right? That's it. Well, so this is around 2018 when this one happened. We had family friends, they passed away in a tragic it's classified as a homicide. It was our family mother and son, they both passed away. And up in New Hampshire, I'm down here in Florida. So I don't know. I didn't get closure from that. I don't know. But so I'm dreaming one night and I had a very vivid dream. I'm trying to like picture it now. It's very hard. I'm trying to remember it. Like
it's okay. These things are hard to explain anyways, man. I mean, it's not like you have a reference to it in the real world. You know what I mean? It's not these.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this on my show, on a live show I did earlier with Caesar. You know, it's inexplicable because sometimes these things are so out of place and out of the ordinary that nothing corresponds to it in this reality. So it's very hard to get these things out and try to explain it in a normal way to everybody else.
Yes, it's very hard to try and verbalize. Like,
yeah,
oh man. So I don't know. All I know is how I can explain it is I felt like I was in a jungle. I don't know. There was a waterfall. I can remember hearing a waterfall. So I'm on like a long skinny bridge, like a sky bridge, like a walkway maybe. There's like a big giant waterfall off to my left. It's like a jungle or something. I don't know, like rainforest or this paradise. I don't know what that's supposed to represent. I don't know. I don't remember feeling I'm from Florida, so I don't remember feeling the humidity at all. And I walk up and I'm seeing my grandpa. So my grandfather passed away in 1992 of lung cancer. I was like 7. I don't remember him that well. So like I'm talking, I can see him right in front of my face. And our family friends that passed away, I don't know if I should use their names, but I don't know what to call them, but they're there.
Okay.
I can see them there. There's other people there. My great uncle Bernard, he was killed in action in Korea. I don't know if I feel maybe he was there. I don't know, but my grandpa is talking to me. My Pepe is like talking to me, and I don't know what he's saying. I still to this day I'm trying to like. I don't know what he's saying to me. I can't remember what he said, but they're all there, right? So I don't know if like
take your time, man.
I don't like talking about this. It's I don't know
It's
why
all right.
I don't know why I get choked up. The and then I'm back. I wake up. So at the time I'm living with my mom. I'm like freaking out. I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like crying. Dude, I run into my mom's room. I'm like freaking out. My mom worked at a hospital here in Florida as a nurse in the ICU. All right, so she works in the ICU every day. Right, I'm wailing, like I'm wailing, like I've had horrible things happen in my life. I've never made a noise like this, dude. I'm just wailing, and my mom's like freaking out. She was like, I've seen men dying in the ICU that haven't made that type of noise. Like, I was like wailing, like sadness. Like, I don't know what it was, man. And I couldn't stop for like 45 minutes. And I don't know. I still don't know what they were trying to say to me. I don't know if what were they saying? Why was I crying? Right? Like, was I like dying? And I was there, like, and they're like, "Hey, you're not dying yet. Go back." And that's why I was crying. Or like, were they telling me to like change something, or what were they telling
you know, like there is like regressive hypnosis that you can possibly do. You might be able to access that. There might be a possibility that you can access that because that's stored in your brain. You know, what they said to you is stored in your brain, and it's a possibility to do that. I don't think that you died. I think, you know, somehow you found a way to meet them halfway, and they all met you. And it was, I think that's a beautiful experience. I think that's an experience that, you know, not many of us get. Many of us dream to have something like that. But, you know, I think that was beautiful. Yeah, like Nancy says, don't have fear, be grateful. You were in a council of elders. They implanted information you need to know, and this will come to you when the time is right. I think that's perfectly said, Nancy. You know, also, sometimes it's in our subconscious. It doesn't mean that we don't know it. It's in our subconscious means that, like, it's there for you. It's already there. It's already reacting to you. Maybe in the future, there was something that was going to happen to you, and your grandfather told you something, not to do something, and your subconscious made sure it didn't happen. That could also be a possibility as well.
I was gonna say is it was very, like, even now I feel emotional about it. My nose is all runny, my eyes are watery. Like, it was I've never felt sadness like that in my life. Like, that was like lost.
Okay, so it was more based on sadness, not on like this. Was it based on sadness because of you're missing them, or was it based on sadness because of information? So. Okay,
I think it was more like I was missing them, and I didn't want to leave them.
Well, I actually think that our energies have known each other for, you know, in infinite time. And you probably just missed their energy because we're here temporarily on this in this space and time having this experience with each other. Like, I think our energies have always known each other, and we choose to come to this school, you know, to learn something, but we kind of sign up together. You know, it's like the buddy system. When you go in the military, you kind of sign up with your buddy, and you hope to get stationed together somewhere. It kind of feels like that to me. And so maybe that's what it is. You just miss those energies, because a lot of people say that they interact with, you know, when they have near-death experiences, they go to this. I'm not saying you did have a near-death experience, but it sounds similar, where you interact with loved ones, and they always say stuff like, "It's not yet your time," that kind of thing. Don't worry about anything here, because on that other side is pure love and energy and consciousness, and it's warm. And when people get to that side, they always say the same thing: I didn't want to leave because I didn't have any worries in this world. And when they come back to this reality, all of a sudden, every pain, every sorrow, every sadness that they feel floods their body, and that energy kind of builds up inside of you. So when you cry, you're letting all those emotions, you're letting all those energies out of you. Or when you get, you know, any kind of emotion about, I left the job, dude, and I know this is your call, and I'll let you finish talking, but I left the job, and it was just it was not a good place to be for me, in terms of like, it wasn't a good place for my energy to be, you know? And the moment I left, I cried, but it wasn't because I was sad. It wasn't because I was angry. It wasn't because I was happy. it was just like this, whatever had to get out of my body, like this energy had to get out of my body. And I felt good after that. It felt like, it was like, okay, good. Like, it was like a shedding of a shadow or something. I don't know how to describe it, but then I moved on. But I think that we have energies that are connected for a lifetime, or infinite time. And we know each other on the other side in some way,
Yeah. The like when our family friends passed, they're way up in New Hampshire. I'm down here in Florida. I didn't get to go back there and stuff. So my mom's like, hey, maybe they're come visiting you, saying they're okay or something. I don't know, but that's what made me think it was a near death experience or something, because that's when everyone was saying that, like, they didn't want to leave, right? And like, I feel like that's why I was sad. Maybe I missed them, or I didn't want to leave. I don't know, but I've have experienced death since then, like, and it wasn't like that, man. I did not react like that. It was like from the soul, man. It was crazy.
Yeah,
And that's
like a good friend of mine, Matt Emch. Hopefully he's coming on tonight still too. He had a NDE as well, near death experience as well, and he said like he was on the other side and his family was waiting there for him, and he was crying because he didn't want to leave, and they're like,
Right.
no, you got to go back. Possibly, did you die in your sleep? You might have had an NDE in your sleep and you didn't even know it. Maybe like you had a heart attack while you were sleeping and you got to cross over. We don't actually know, but you were given a message. I think that is clear. You were given a message, and what that message is, it's up to you to decide what that was, whether it was, a preventative, to look out for something, or it was, something hopeful, something to strive for, to be this, to live on for your generations that have moved on already, to live the life that they're not able to live now, to live with honor.
I
I
hope
don't want to.
so. But
I
for
don't
me in
wanna-
general, I just want to say that I feel like I look at it personally as kind of a negative experience, just because it was so very sad, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to happen to anyone else, man. It was not fun. It was not and I've never had it again. So I've never had a dream like that again.
Do
I
you get
dream blackness now.
messages on this side? Do you get synchronicities or any kind of signs and things like that?
Nope.
Or have you just not, and I'm not being rude or nothing, or have you just not paid attention to realize that you were receiving a message? Like there are some times where I'm oblivious to everything that's going on until I start focusing. Like I was telling Brad this one experience where I asked for a sign. I'm like, I need a sign, and at that point I was looking and I saw a billboard up on the top of a building, and it said, if you're looking for a sign, this is it. It literally said that to me.
No way.
So it sometimes we get so caught up with everything. We got everything going on, TikTok brain and everything else, and we just get so distracted. I get distracted extremely that we miss those messages that are coming through to us. So maybe put something out there. Maybe say, if you're out there and you're trying to contact me, give them something specific. Say, throw a dime down on the ground in front of me or something like that. Something strange. Yeah.
I get it's a cluttering of our frequency is what it is. We're overwhelmed with this radiation. I have a what you call it meter that measures the electromagnetic radiation coming off the
EMF?
computer. Yeah. God, my brain is fried right now just trying to think of simple words. But like I go around my office and I'm measuring things. I'm measuring the lights. I'm measuring this thing right here that's floating behind me. That's a magnetic thing. So like there's just a constant stream of like electromagnetic energy. And I think that literally like boggles our mind. Like it scrambles our brains. And I think that's why we get angry easily. And I think that's why we can't hear the messages. We could probably telepathically communicate with each other if we were completely clear and we let everything go out of our body, let our ego just shed everything out of it and forget who we are, like completely, and just become some sort of one unity consciousness, like we will probably start to hear those messages very clearly. I just think there's so much that we're distracted with every day, from billboards to TVs to radio or whatever, even to shows like this. Unfortunately, we're sitting here talking about it, but it's distracting us from our who we really are, like our internal makeup. And I get signs from, like, I get what I call spirit guides or higher self, or I have this theory that we're all God experiencing himself. And so maybe it's a God talking to me through synchronicities, through butterflies. I see butterflies a lot. I see angel numbers everywhere. So that kind of stuff, man, if you open yourself up to it, if you try to clear your mind and of who you are, your identity and everything, then I think you'll start like getting those messages. You'll start seeing them very clearly, because I get so busy that I stop seeing them. And then I realize, like, I have to like figure out a way to tap back into that, because
maybe they'll have I just had a retina reattachment surgery. I was telling you guys last live stream, I think. So maybe I'll have time to because I can't really do anything, right? With my vision's all fuzzy, so maybe I'll have time to
meditate.
I think so.
I see all kinds of crazy stuff now, man. I see all kinds of floaters. So,
oh, you do? I had cataract surgery, and I was telling Rye one time, like, I think it's like UFOs, dude. I'll see these dark, heavy, floaters, and they look like little. I don't know if you're into, UFOs and stuff, but they have like, they look like these little UFOs that you see like videos of,
Yeah, I see lasers shooting across.
Yeah. So it's weird, man.
Yeah. Like, so I had an experience recently with my vision. What I truly saw, I don't know if it can be explained, like, I read that it's an ocular migraine, and it fits a little bit of that notion, but I believe it's so much more than what it is. Like I posted it on Reddit, and I got eaten alive on it, because everyone's like, that's an ocular migraine. It's an ocular migraine. And I'm like, yeah, but you're missing the other part of it. So I'll do a bit of an analogy. I'm not sure if I said this analogy to you, Brad. So, okay. So I've had plantar fasciitis. Okay. And my foot, it really, really hurts, that's gone. It's done. But there's a specific type of pain. Well, recently I got a nail in my Achilles tendon, and strangely enough, the pain was identical. So if I went to the doctor and I said, listen, I got a nail in my tendon, but this is the pain I have. And the doctor's like, no, that's plantar fasciitis. That's plantar fasciitis. Well, it's like, no, but you're throwing out the rest of the information. Like, yes, there is similarities, but it's not that, because this happened as well. No, it's plantar fasciitis. So that is kind of how I feel about this experience that I had, where the best way I can say it is I saw a rip in reality, where it was like this rip across. It started as a small point, and then it opened up huge. And there was like plasma on the edges. It was like this kind of undulating colors plasma. And that's where everyone's like, that's an ocular migraine. I'm like, okay, it looks, I've looked into it, and it's somewhat similar, but there's this other part where I saw through this rip into this world. I saw large industrial fans moving. I saw rubble strewn across the ground. I saw the sky. The sky was like this. It was all like this brownish, rusty-ish color. And, that gets thrown out because that doesn't fit the narrative. And I don't know.
Definitely not an ocular migraine. You definitely didn't say anything like that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, well, it's kind of similar. So when we're talking about you guys are talking about your vision, things, you're seeing things, what do they tell you? They tell you, oh, that's just normal. Don't mind that. But is it possibly because you've had this surgery that you're able to see more than what you did before? Like, are we seeing more than what we did before? Did I see something more than what is reality? Because I explained, I'm like this, and can an ocular migraine be something where you can see further into a different reality? And because they don't really have an explanation for these ocular migraines, they just kind of happen and there's no pain to them. You just have these visions of these strange colors. What, are we seeing more? Are we able to see more? I don't know.
So like I was laying there after my surgery. So I had 3 surgeries at once. They punched through holes. I had complex retina detachment. So they lasered my retina back in place in 2 spots, drained all the fluid in my eye, replaced it with oil, and took away all the scar tissue, which is like taking all the skin off the inside of your eye. It's gross. But they did 3 at once, right? So I'm laying there after surgery, obviously, just my eyes patched up, closed, and you're seeing all kinds of floaters, man. You're seeing like shapes. I'm seeing butterfly, like literally like butterfly circles. The ones I still see to this day is like white, almost like those spirit ball things, and they shoot up into one. It shoots up in the center of my eye into one solid ball, and then it gets to the middle and shoots off in the 3 different directions. It's crazy.
That's more than what you're being told, man. Like that's more than don't worry, that's just your brain trying to translate, these impulses or these electrical impulses. No, I believe it is a lot more than that. I believe it is way more than that. Well,
they're definitely.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No,
they definitely changed because at first he's like, "Oh, you'll see lasers," and I was seeing colors, like legit. It looked like almost like if I closed my eyes, it was almost like fireworks. You know what I mean? Like there was so many different colors everywhere. Yeah. And now it's just those weird white balls, and it's not all the time, but I'll just like look somewheres real quick, and then and they'll just pop up, and they say I'm still healing, so.
Yeah, you're seeing more than what you should be seeing. And then Western science, like, don't get me wrong, Western medicine has its places. It definitely does, like reattaching your retina, 100%. But when sometimes they can't explain things, and they try to explain, well, they don't really have a legitimate explanation. They try to explain things away. And that's the part that I don't like. I don't like when they try to explain things away. And
they're very analytical. Like he cares only about like the back of my eyeball. That's his lane. Mm-hmm. The front of the eyeball, he's like, go to someone else. So, you know what I mean? So yep. I agree. They're very like, and it has to be this because the textbook says this, right? And if the textbook doesn't say this, then it must not be valid or exist at all. Like I'm like, because they don't give you pain meds or anything, and I'm like, hey, get a brain freeze, eat a lot of ice cream, get a little brain freeze, and after retina surgery, it really helps with the swelling and pain. And they're like, what? I never heard of this before. And I'm like, I'm telling you.
That's fascinating. That's awesome. You're like telling the doctors how to do their job. I love it.
I had cataracts in both my eyes, man. Both the surgeries in both my eyes. So like, it's definitely interesting when you get surgery right after you get out of surgery. I think it's definitely interesting to start seeing stuff everywhere.
I had it when I was a little kid, and it took 13 hours. And they did it this time, and they did 3 surgeries, and it took 38 minutes. So that was pretty crazy.
What?
Isn't that insane?
That is outrageous.
Future's now, man.
True, it is. I think there's more of the future out there that we're just kind of, it's being withheld. I'm on the side of, I think there's med beds out there. We'll see.
I hope so. I want to go for the personally apply for the they're doing Neuralink optical nerve trials. I guess that's their second human testing step after the paraplegics. So
you want to get the Neuralink in?
Yeah, dude. Optical nerve implant. Yeah.
Okay, so if that happens, I want you on the show. I want to hear firsthand what is going on. Are they downloading stuff? Are you able to download stuff? I have no idea. That would be.
I could speak Spanish now fluently. I just downloaded it.
Oh my God. That's what I need, man. Like I am struggling here with my Spanish. My Spanish is terrible, and I'm like. My daughter speaks Spanish way better. Well, my daughter speaks it pretty much fluently. Ugh, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sunny Cat, for coming on. I appreciate your, your stories. I like to call them stories. I'm not downplaying them, saying they're not real. I think we all have our own stories because that's how we used to pass on information. Was through stories. We passed down stories, and then we switched to books and then onto the internet. And I actually think I think that's a downfall of our society in a way. Hear me out on this, because books can be manipulated, or I can write it all in this book, and then all those books can be thrown out and tossed away, and then that information is lost. So I don't think it's a downfall of a society, but
The internet's forever.
I think books are great, but I think the stories still need to be passed down from generation to generation, kind of like what happened with you, with your great great grandfather and your great uncle as well. Like that story is forever ingrained. It is forever passed down. And because on the internet, what's going to happen on the internet? We post our information on the internet. Well, it just gets deleted. That information is forever lost. That knowledge is gone. That wisdom is changed, is manipulated. So we always have to be careful. So make sure you pass those stories down to your children if you have them.
I will. And
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I love the show. I watch you guys and Matt. I watch Matt's show as well. So.
Matt is awesome. Yeah, Matt has been super busy because he calls football, and so it's football season, so he is super busy. So I'm hoping he shows up tonight. He said he would, but I won't hold it against him if he can't make it.
Hope so.
Yeah, I hope he makes it.
All right, keep it up, guys. I love the content, and
thanks so much.
I keep liking and sharing. So
I appreciate that. That's huge. Thank you so much.
Good talking to you, bro. I was trying to post in the comments like links to my show. Am I allowed to post links at all or no?
You should be able to. Sometimes.
Yeah, won't let me. It's weird.
Okay, hang on. So, which one do you want me? Which one do you want me to post in there? Your Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify and Rumble and YouTube. Really, I mean, really all but.
Okay. I'm sure I can do it. I'm sure I can do it.
theawakenpodcast.com, and just have everybody just scroll down and follow me on those platforms. That would be great, man. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, here's Spotify. Hang on a second. So let me get it. So I had that one, The Awaken Podcast. Yes.
Thank you guys too. I appreciate y'all very much. Thank y'all and of course thanks for Rye for always letting me come on and hang out with him and talk with you guys. Because I don't have a big audience on these platforms yet. Hopefully I'll build that up. I have a good following on Spotify and stuff, but I don't interact with people as much as I want to. I told Rye this before. I don't feel like it's kind of weird because I don't feel like it's real. Like I don't have like people who listen to me and stuff like that. I'm so detached from it, that I don't think nothing of it. I just like people are listening for sure. And I'm sure people listen regularly. I just don't know them. I don't interact with them. I wish I could, because now, getting to talk to you guys, I see that there are people who like to listen to these stories. So it's really cool.
Okay, hang on a second. So Mouse just told me I think you have to be a mod on the channel or operator of the post link. So let me fix that. You keep talking right now. I'm gonna just give me two seconds here.
No, just theawakenpodcast.com is probably where you can just find all the links. I created my own little link tree in there. So it's theawakenpodcast.com/links. So that would help out too. But yeah, it's like my own little link tree. I don't understand link tree. I don't understand why people get a link tree. It's just it's basically a web. Like people will have a website and they'll have a link tree, and I'm like, well, why don't you just use your website as your link tree? So yeah, but follow me on that. I appreciate that, you guys. I just killed a mosquito in here, dude, and it was like it was a bird. It was huge.
Really?
Man. Yeah,
it's a Bill Gates mosquito there,
dude. I mean, something was biting me, and I looked down, and it was just gigantic, and I swatted it down. So when Sunny Cat was talking, so I probably like a moron in here.
I saw you doing something. I was like, what are you doing?
I probably look like you with the bees. I have
right.
Karate chopping the bees.
You know what? I'll figure it out later. I don't want to.
It's okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, don't worry about that, man. Cool. But man, you keep having a lot of problems with feet, huh? You got stung on your feet today too? Is that what you said?
I have. That has not it hasn't. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Dawned on you?
It hasn't eluded me that is happening. Before this, actually, I had gout. On my
really?
foot. Yeah, and I can't remember which foot, but I believe it was my right foot. Then I got the nail in my Achilles on my right foot, and now I got lit up by those bees on my right foot. And I need to look into the metaphysical meaning for this. Like, what is going on? Usually, your feet, knees and feet are about like moving forward in life. So I'm wondering what I'm missing.
Do you think, and I don't mean to switch gears, but I was thinking about your comments, what you said about the rusty, a post-apocalyptic looking thing you saw in the slice of reality, or whatever you want to call it. And it makes me wonder if this really is like the movie The Matrix, and it's just like a holographic reality overlaying on top of like this existing, maybe like we fucked up this world so bad before that the ones who survive were like, hey, let's keep recreating this simulation to see if these creations, these simulated people that we create can try to find a better way to save the planet, I guess you could say. Like, we're trying to, like, they created an AI of us, and we're all just working, and they're just watching us work, and they're just like, all right, they're going somewhere with something. Like, they're building AI, they're doing all this, and I wonder if somebody's going to save the planet, kind of thing. And then maybe they can go back in time and then try to reverse whatever craziness happened. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It kind of like sounds similar to like there was a movie, like a Jake Gyllenhaal movie where they did that, where he just kept on repeating the same thing over and over and over again to like fix something in the past. There was an explosion on a train, and he needed to go back there and find this. And it was interesting. I don't remember the full premise of the movie, but it was something to do with that. But I think that's interesting. So, but I have a question though. Are we, like you said, like a holographic overlay? So are we walking around in a wasteland? Are we living in a wasteland, or and we're just consuming nothing really? And it's kind of like we're just all like walking and standing. Like right now, I'm just standing in a burnt out building, that's like this.
Yeah, that's in my mind. That's what I'm seeing. Like, that's kind of how I see it, is like this overlaying graphic, reality over this. Maybe the pyramids that we are seeing used to exist in the world before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're there, but we don't. But they're right now, they're overlain with like grass and stuff, and we're not allowed to like, explore these things. You ever seen Skinwalker Ranch? That's another piece of the puzzle that makes me think that the show Skinwalker Ranch. Have you ever watched that?
No, I have not.
So it's a very interesting show where they have this thing on Skinwalker Ranch where you're not allowed to dig. Every time somebody digs, like a radiation is released, and people get like brain tumors and stuff like that. So like when you start digging on the land fights back on you. It's almost like there's these it's almost like this this repellent that prevents people from discovering more. And
like it's a natural kind of defense system.
Yes, but it's like nuclear radiation, and it gets extremely high, and it only happens when people start to like, poke around at stuff. Well, they did this. They did all these LiDAR scans and all this stuff, and they did this one scan where they saw this anomaly that was like a floating, like a clear block. Dude, you got to watch the show. It's pretty cool. I don't know if it's real or not. I mean, it's it's a TV show, so who knows how much of it's real. But they saw this anomaly that was like this clear looking anomaly that was kind of sitting in this one spot, but we couldn't see it, with our naked eye. They had to have some kind of camera that took like 3,000 frames per second or something like that to be able to see. Yeah. And they only got like a small glimpse of it. And so what I'm saying is like, maybe there is like a tower that's there in this other, overlaying. We're in this overlaying AI simulation or whatever. And maybe there's a tower there. We just can't see it because it's, overlaying on this reality. I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing.
I like it. I like it. And for those who are interested, I'm going to share. I made AI drop some pictures. So this is the best I could come up with how it looked on the other side. Something along this line. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, these fans were further back, and they were kind of like some of them were two stacked one on top of each other. So the highest it was too high. Some were just one high. And then there was a lot of rubble on the ground, and the sky was all this color as well. And I would say the rubble, if I recall, was like wet. There was kind of water sitting in there as well. And yeah, so this is like the pictures that AI would only come up with something like this. So, but these colors in this one are almost spot on. These colors, like the rubble on the ground, and these fans as well. Fans had mesh in front of them, though, like a wire mesh in front of them. So, some people would say, oh, it's just your brain firing and trying to come up with something to, to fill this, what's going on. I'm like, to that degree, to that specificity, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, so what does that look like? That looks like fans maybe that cooled some sort of a, server farm or something like that, right?
That's exactly what I thought too. Exactly what I thought.
So what if this was either possibility that maybe this is a simulation and these are just the computer parts where you're seeing, that's running the simulation, or maybe it's, like I said, this overlaying system.
Maybe the simulation, maybe the people who have developed the simulation have long gone past. They're dead. It's gone into a wasteland and it's just been abandoned. We're an abandoned ant farm, and I got to see through to the other side of the abandoned ant farm.
I wonder what would have happened if you would have grabbed a ladder and tried to like jump through. Because Tony Merkel's always talking about, like, if he saw a portal, he would jump through it. I'm like, yeah, right, dude. That's crazy. There's no way to jump through some kind of portal. Who knows where you would go?
And I was terrified. I was scared. What is happening? What is going on?
Yeah.
But okay, this is the thing though, is that it was just always out of reach. No matter where I walked, where I went, it was just out of reach. Like it's so. That plays credence to an ocular migraine, that it's this kind of thing that's moving with you, but I still saw past it all. That was a thing. Yeah, it was really, really interesting.
Sorry, can I show you something? Can I share a screen?
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know if this
at the bottom it should say present, and then you can go share screen, and then you choose what you want to present. It's exactly the same like Google Meet and whatnot, where you share screens.
Yeah, you don't think I'm gonna? So it would be it's a YouTube video from the History Channel. Is that you think there would be?
I will get flagged. I will get flagged.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we did that once before. And the way to get by it is if you actually pull it up on your cell phone and you hold your cell phone up.
Oh, well, then that's okay then. Yeah, I was going to show you that blob anomaly from Skinwalker Ranch. It's really interesting. It looks like a jellyfish almost that's kind of sitting still. And so
would that possibly, is that like following the line of sky beasts?
I mean, I don't know. You guys mentioned that last time, and I haven't looked in to see what sky beasts are, but this was sitting still, and they've recorded anomaly in this exact same spot. They call it the triangle on the base. Okay. And in the triangle, they've done all these different high-tech scans and all this stuff, and they keep seeing this dark black void, this circle that's like a deep circle, and then the LiDAR scans show that something goes underground, and there's tunnels, and there's all these different like anomalies that are just showing up on this thing. But it starts in this triangle area, and inside the triangle there's this dark black circle, and then that's where they also see this anomaly. So they'll shoot rockets through this thing, and they'll show that the rockets are bouncing off and like flying off to the side, like as if they hit something, but you can't see anything there. So like it's pretty interesting. The little area of the triangle on Skinwalker Ranch is pretty interesting. But again, this could all be a show, I don't know. Because it does have this tone to it that's like staged and all that stuff. But I do think the phenomena is real. Obviously, Robert Bigelow studied it for 2 or 3 decades or whatever it was. The government studied it.
Yeah, there is something there. There is definitely something there, man. Yeah, it's Is there any other place in the world that you can think of that is that crazy, that is that, off the wall?
Yeah, I think there's lots of them. We just don't know about them. Like we
Okay,
don't hear about them.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, what is it like? I believe the Black Forest in Germany falls into line of that as well, where they've had some crazy stuff. I watched a show with Josh Gates on there, where one of his guys is sitting out in this opening, because this opening, there's an opening in the Black Forest, and it's kind of like associated with witches and whatnot. And the guy got like thrown. He got thrown back and was scratched as well, which is crazy. Yeah.
There's have you ever seen, I might have mentioned this the last time we talked, but there's a underground lake in Tennessee, and there's fish swimming in it. Like I thought that you needed sunlight for like different things to develop. Am I wrong about that, or I have to pull it up?
No, because possibly there was sunlight, but there are things that have worked without sunlight, because there's like blind fish and everything else like that as well, right? But
Yeah.
but they have developed, but they have what is it? But they were, I believe that they were developed outside of the cave, and that they got put in there, and then they slowly not evolved but adapted.
I'm trying to find it. I need to find the name of it, but it's an interesting. Like, there's so many places in the and I saw somebody who commented earlier said something about the jungle is covering pyramids. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and that was Uncaged Savage who said that. Yeah, of course, man. There's 100%. That's what the national forests are there for, to cover up all this stuff, because they can't go in and clear out all these ancient ruins and stuff like that. They can't clear out all these temples, and we're talking about massive stones, so they can't move those stones. So what do? They just rope it off and say, nope, nobody's allowed to go there, and they just let the vegetation grow and grow and grow until it becomes unrecognizable. But yeah, right here in my hometown, or not in my hometown, but in the town I live in, and all throughout the national forest, you can just pop into any of them and just look around. You can ask a local hunter, and they'll tell you all about, they use that on X or whatever it's called to find different things in the woods. There's an app called On X Hunt or something like that, where people find, it's like a land surveying thing. And I don't know if it's just specific to the United States, but that's a thing that exists, and people can find stuff on there. You can find, like, you could zoom in. It's like high definition satellite images of land and stuff. And but a lot of these places, again, are covered up, man. And ask a hunter. Most of them use that app, and they all tell you, yeah, man, there's pyramids under this lake. There's ancient rock effigies in the middle of the woods out here. There's petroglyphs here. There's geoglyphs here. There's monoliths over there. And everywhere you go, it's like that. It's unbelievable how much that we haven't been taught about our own history in the United States. There is so much stuff hidden in these woods that they will never let us know about. So
I totally agree with you. I actually believe that there are a ton of stuff that is all being hidden from us. To what purpose or what ends? I think it's to keep us dumb. It's so we don't really truly know our full potential, our full power on it, and what we can do. What was I going to say was, now you're talking about this app or this type of this thing, it kind of brings me to Randonautica. You ever hear of Randonautica?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while though.
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever tried it? Have you ever? No. Okay. So I tried it once with my family. We tried it. We ended up we picked someplace close, and it took us on this big, huge, long route. And it was like, okay, go here, then go over this way, go over this way, go over this way. And where we finally ended up was like probably like 2 kilometers away from, we're at my parents' house. We're about 2 kilometers away from my parents' house. We get there, and seconds after we get there, we hear my nieces and nephews going by on this path. Like, they didn't know where we were. We had no clue where they were. But at the exact moment we arrived at the exact spot like we were in a little dip in a valley, kind of like covered by these trees, and there was like a pavement path, like a sidewalk, kind of like that went through a bunch of these parks, and they were riding right past at that exact moment that we arrived at that exact spot. I thought that was quite unique. You know, I know it's not like ground shaking, like finding a dead body in a suitcase, but I thought that was pretty coincidental that for that to happen at that exact time we get there, and then they're out riding their bikes and come at the exact spot just above us. You know, like we could hear it. We're like, we call out to them and they stop and they come back, and yeah, it was unique.
I'm gonna share something with you real quick, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. Well, I'm just gonna switch the.
Can you see that? The ancient art archive.
Yeah.
Okay,
here we go.
So you see these geoglyphs here, man?
Yes.
Know, and I mentioned this with Caesar on the show earlier. This is in Arizona. This isn't like the Aztecs or Peru or anything like that. This is in Arizona, and you can only see them like this from the sky. And there's stuff like this. This is just one little place, and this is on the 33rd parallel, of course. But this is just one little place, you know, in the United States, one little small plot of land. Now imagine how much is hidden underneath the massive, you know, dense forest that's the national forest. How much we can't see, but you know, we could be able to see if we could use LiDAR and stuff, but they won't let you fly drones over the national forest in many areas, and there's a reason why. So to say that, you know, to say that there's stuff hidden in the jungle, yeah, that's an understatement, dude. You know what I mean?
I'm assuming you've been watching Ancient Apocalypse, right, with Graham Hancock?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm on the second episode, but yeah.
Okay. Have they done the LiDAR in the jungle yet?
Yeah, I saw that one in somewhere in Colombia or something.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Was it in Brazil? It might have been
Brazil.
In Brazil.
It might have. Yeah, the national. It was in the. It was in the Amazon, right?
Yes, exactly. And as soon as you showed me this, I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen something like this before. I saw that in on Ancient Apocalypse, and that looks extremely similar to that as well."
Well, he was in White Sands, right? Look at White Sands, for example. I mean, that was United States.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like that's for people, like people don't even know these places exist in their own country. When we go to school, they don't teach us about this stuff in our history classes. They don't say, you know, all we hear, and my daughter just repeated it the other day, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue or something like that. It's like, you know, we always hear these, it's like these small little snippets of history. You know, George Washington had wooden teeth and Abraham Lincoln was honest. And like, we don't know anything about anything they've said. We don't know anything about the lands that we live on and the places we inherit. Like, how come we don't know about the geoglyphs, but we know all about the the cave paintings in France or whatever, or the pyramids in Egypt, but yet we have places like Poverty Point, Louisiana, that has thousands of mounds everywhere, which are pyramids. Like, you know, or in any national forest you can go to, and there's
and I think they call it mounds to discredit it.
It is. And here's the thing is, if you read these if you read about them, it's always like, that's only 40% of what they used to be, because a lot of them have been eroded and washed down over the years. So,
or have been taken apart,
bulldozed, or whatever the case is. Yeah.
Interesting. Really interesting. I find that fascinating. So just one last, not one last thing, but I would say, hey, if anybody else is in the chat and you guys want a story to share, by all means, come on. I just shared the link again, so by all means, come on. I was going to say something, but I totally slipped my mind. But
I do that often. I screw people up.
No worries. And if no one comes on soon, I don't know. We can end it soon. I know you're a little tired tonight. You had a long day.
I got a little energy boost when you hit live, man, and I felt a lot better. You know, it was like,
fair enough. You're like, yeah, here we go.
A little adrenaline shot, I guess you could say. So, they're everywhere.
Also, if anybody's watching on Rumble, come on over to YouTube, or just, you know, come over, click the link, because I I'm not sure. I don't think these comments go on Rumble, but come on over to YouTube and click the links that I'm sharing on there. By all means, posting it. I'll post it down here. I know you can't click on it if you're watching in Rumble, but come over, check it out, and if you got anything you guys want to share, by all means, even if it's a story, an experience, or any research that you've been doing, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to talk about it either. I mean, obviously this is a place for weird and unusual, and
Yeah.
like we're sitting here talking about crazy shit like overlaying Matrix realities and stuff like that. You're not going to get that on Fox News or CNN. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that on. You're not even going to get that on the History Channel or A&E or anything. So, you're definitely in good company with all your weird stories, and I think people hold those experiences. It's an emotional thing, just like Sonny Cat when he called in. That's a very emotional thing because it's something that's bothered them, or they've something they've held in for their whole life or what have you, and it's just like when you let that, when I've done it before, man. I've called into shows. I called into this radio show, and I was talking to this DJ. And I was just like sharing a story about some friends, and I was like, yeah. And my friends died, and I got emotional. I got choked up, and I didn't even realize, like, I wasn't trying to get choked up. I was just trying to tell a story, but then I got choked up while I was on air, as if like I had to let this energy out of me because it was like built up in me or something. You know what I mean? And then the dickhead host was like, making fun of me or something, like, oh, listen to this guy. Nah, he's a fucking morning zoo guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just calling in to participate in the show. I wasn't trying to be like emotional or anything like that. I just happened to be telling a story. And then
you got to read the room, I'm not going to be making fun of you if you start to cry on a show, because these things are like really affect you. Like Vicky Joy had said, it's like something that causes you, like if you have an experience and it causes you to change your life, that is something so intense, and it's not, and some people will just be like, oh, she was referencing my Shadow Man experience, when people are like, oh, it's just a dream. It's just, no, an experience that's so profound that would change your life. So, like what else? Yeah, it's there is something to it. There's something to it. And, if it's affecting you that much and someone starts like making fun of you, like, what the hell? Like, come on. That's ridiculous. That's not what we do here. That's something I'm not going to be doing. And I know you don't do the same thing as well. So
man,
we want to give people this safe space. And I hate using that word, a safe space. I want to give people a place where they can, feel comfortable and they can talk and just share their experiences and know that you're not alone. We're all having these types of experiences, maybe slightly different, but there's a lot of commonalities between them where we can connect through that.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, I try to let everybody know all the time. Like I'm a dummy. Like I don't know anything. I'm not very smart. I'm self, I'm degrading myself here, but I shouldn't probably talk like that. But also I realize my flaws and my faults, right? And so it's hard to do this, man. It's it's hard to be honest with yourself, and it's hard to listen to you. Caesar and I were talking about how we have to edit sometimes when we do a podcast. We have to edit ourselves out because you'll say words like 4 or 5 times in a row. Like I was doing a podcast with somebody, and I said, like literally 4 times in a row, And so I had to like cut those 3 out. So when you listen to yourself, it's like really hard to do. First of all, it's hard to look at yourself talking on camera. And then second of all, it's really hard to hear yourself because you're not used to hearing and seeing yourself like this. You're used to just hearing your own internal voice or whatever, looking at yourself in the mirror. So just being able to you get the courage to call or get on pop in on the live or whatever the case is super hard to do. You got to overcome the self-consciousness barriers or the self-conscious barriers to getting on, to being in the public eye, first of all. And then you got to tell a very emotional story. So it's fucking hard, dude. Like it's not easy.
It is extremely hard. And I hear you completely on the, cutting out the repetition. There are some things where I'm like, and, I'm like, and then I listen to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like doing some sort of rap or something like that. What is going on?
I do, but I also think that that's what people like us for, is the flaws and the faults. You know, like we're not perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. This is just a conversation. Like this is how I would talk to you if there was nobody else listening. I'd had these exact same conversations with you, and it would sound exactly the same way. So
exactly, I agree. Yeah, that's something I'm trying to cut out is my stuttering. I'm like, ugh. Local Squatch. I used to call into Coast to Coast, and you have to lie to the person, answer the call, and tell them you wanted to talk about something completely different, so you could actually get the truth in.
Yeah, I know. I listened to talk radio from 2008 until 2023, and I tried to call in a couple times, and it's always like you have to get past the gatekeeper of the show, whoever the phone call person, whoever answers the phone calls. Yeah, you gotta kind of say a crazy story or something for them to be even interested in putting you on air and that kind of stuff. So, but this is definitely not the same. This is definitely an open book.
Let's throw the link on there once more. Yes,
yeah,
of course. You know, why not? Come on, and if you have something you want to share, by all means.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do this, man. I've always wanted to talk. I always feel like, you know, I'm always talking anyways, talking people's heads off. I might as well put it out there and just, you know, find people to talk with about this, because I know people in my family don't want to hear this shit no more. They're probably tired. Like, they're tired of all of it.
Me too, man. Me too. Except my wife, because my wife has been like more geared to other things. We'll say other things, but she's really started listening to Candace Owens now. And Candace Owens had Ashton Forbes on, who talks about the Malaysia Airlines flight disappearance. Yeah. And so, and Candace Owens is going really more conspiracy, which is great. I'm like, okay, well, this might be like the connection. And so my wife will maybe bring her around here or something like that.
Well, you notice that a lot of people are doing that because they're trying to get into this alternative media space where they can, you know, try to dominate or whatever the case is. So you are seeing more of that. You see Ben Shapiro doing more of that. You'll see all these people who are online people, you know, starting to talk about this kind of stuff. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of feels like they're just jumping into the game just to ride whatever little window of that's open for them to jump in at, you know, and then they'll move on to whatever else is trendy at the time, you know, 6 months from now or a year from now. So they won't be talking conspiracies and stuff are just in right now. People questioning,
it's all the rage. It's all the rage.
Well, people questioning the weather patterns and shit. People questioning, like, you know, our reality. You know, people having questions about end of the world. It seems like more and more people are having these like profound experiences too, like these weird things, not just cryptid stuff, but also like weird, like coincidences that people are noticing now. And they're like, this shit is not a coincidence anymore. Something weird's going on. How can and so they'll reach out to me, like family and friends, and they'll tell me about their stories, man. So
yeah,
people can't
local Squatch. I agree.
Internet algorithm has made, well, you'll never get I know a lot about internet algorithms because I do digital marketing for a living. You'll never get anything that they don't want you to see. That's just it. They program what they want you to see. And
that's what I'll do, a shameless plug for us. That's why you got to watch our shows, because we get you that information. We get you, you know, the truth. You know, like one of my favorites, Gary Wayne. I interviewed him. He's coming back. That episode will be dropping next month here, and it's really, really cool. And Sunny Cat, I was going to say something here, Sunny Cat, that there is you said your wife is a born again Christian. Well, she reads the Bible. The Bible is full of all of this. It really is. If you don't see it in the Bible, then you're ignoring it. You're not looking, because it is all in there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and they are removing the truth. It's a modern day book burning. I mean, that's all it is to it, Squatch, for sure. You know, historical narratives is the least of it, I think. I mean, they are trying to write a new narrative about everything. You know, not just the history of the buildings and stuff like that. They are literally trying to separate us from Christ consciousness which is separating us from who we are. And, there's a unity consciousness that vibrates high, and that vibration is a love frequency. And that's the Christ consciousness frequency. And that's what connects us all. That's what, when we're connected that way, that's whenever we can use sound to build buildings like they used to use. That's what cymatics is. Like they used to use sound to build all these move stones and stuff like that. And that only comes from unity consciousness, from the connectedness from everybody. And of course they're going to keep us divided. They want us to keep us divided because they don't want us to know how powerful we really are. If we all knew our power, just like that movie with the blue people, what is it called? The Disney movie. We've talked about this before. Onward, right? How these magical creatures forgot who they were, and then all of a sudden they all woke up at the same time and just started remembering their powers. That's sort of how we are. We need to just remember those powers,
What do you think about this? This is an interesting thought. All this peace and love shit is exactly what they did to the hippies. It is, but everybody just decided not to do anything. Like, I think peace and love is very important, but I don't take away activism. Don't take away getting your ass out there and actually doing something. Peace and love is good, but if you're sitting on your ass and just kind of holding everybody's hand, that's what I think. Like the new age is the hippies of the 70s, and I'm sorry if you're into new age. I was, but it kind of gets you in a quagmire. You're stuck, and you don't move from there. You're stuck, and you're not doing anything. You're not really doing any of the real work, even though they're all talking about the real work. I've seen it for myself. I've seen people who are still in that, and they just stay there. And it's like, no, you got to break free from that. And don't get me wrong. I think it is a good start. Like peace and love is great, and it should be a foundation, but it shouldn't be everything. You have to be the change as well.
But listen, they're
and disagree with me if you want. That is fine. That's what we're here for.
Well, they don't have to do MK Ultra on us anymore. They have mass media manipulation that they can people don't understand that when you just think about all the Disney movies that you've watched. What is the common thread? Leave your concern. First of all, there's a single parent always. There's a dead, the mom doesn't, think about the Little Mermaid. Where was the Little Mermaid's mom? Think about literally every movie, almost every Disney movie, there's almost never like a whole family unit. There's always the overbearing conservative dad, and then the character runs away and finds a group of weirdos to create a new family with. So they're taking you away from the nuclear family, right? And they're
that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and the nuclear family is the base of that's your roots. That's where you're strongest. That's where your energy. That's where your frequency is vibrating the highest, is closest to your roots, closest to where you were born, where you were conceived and born. And so, again, 6 feet apart, all this other stuff, they want to keep you far away from everybody else. As far as you don't hug can you imagine? Love is what actually, lifts people up. It's what lifts old people's spirits up. And we were telling people not to hug your grandma and your granddad or you kill them. I mean, they're continuously separating us from that love.
Yes. That was huge. That was huge. And people who fell into that, that was killing their grandparents. Yes. Was the lack of love, the lack of the human touch. Yeah.
Think about when someone, and they do this with our food too. We don't have access to our food anymore. We're not eating the light that comes from God into the fruits directly. Like first it has to get chemicalized and washed all out, and then processed, and then sitting in the freezer and a cooler and all these other places before it even gets to us. So it's gone through a total transformation of what it was supposed to be. And then think about this. Why is it that your grandma's food is always better than anybody else's food? It's because the love that she puts in it. It's not the ingredients that's making it better. It's the love, the light, the energy that she puts behind it, or he puts behind it. If it was your grandpa who cooking his favorite hog or whatever the case is, And so that separation, when they keep us apart from each other like that, that's their goal. And so they don't have to, do MK Ultra anymore. This isn't the 60s and the 50s and whatever, the 70s. This is like, we have a just like the movie Batman, where, Mr. Enigma was like putting those things on people's heads, and it was just like, sending that signal straight into their brains. That's literally what is happening. And I don't think people understand that. Like, do you remember that when the Riddler, Mr. E?
100%. And they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't have to, man. So yeah, the peace, love, all that stuff, that's a real thing, man. Love vibrates at 528 hertz. Fear vibrates at 4 hertz. So if you want to be in anything, like, you know how good it feels when you say something to somebody, you give somebody a compliment, it makes them feel good, it makes you feel good. That's the love frequency that I'm talking about, right? Just being kind to someone when they're crying, you hug them or whatever. Like, it's not hippie shit, right? It's like, it's real, like, caring and lifting their spirits up, and pulling them out, and literally giving them light, right?
Yeah.
You're lighting their candle. You're lighting their path in some way. And so you're literally touching them with the light of God, and you're illuminating their path, or you're illuminating their lives in some way. And that matters, man, in a huge way. Just a little bit of light for people will go a long way. And that's what I talk about a lot, is that it's even weird hearing myself talk like this, because I've never been like this my entire life. Like, I'm not some kind of guru or anything like that, but I've always been sports guy, busting balls with my brothers and stuff like that. So to hear myself say hippie type things is very odd, but it's the truth. It's what resonates the most,
Yep.
So, like, we have to fight the spiritual battle with love. Think about the people who were shouting from the mountaintops about love. What happened to them? JFK assassinated, John Lennon assassinated, Bob Marley assassinated, Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated. We can go on and on and on and on and on about the people who are preaching love and how they all are assassinated. Love and unity. Even Tupac talking about love and unity and changing the way we operate and all this stuff. And what happens? Assassinated. That's what it is. So,
I also believe, because they're not following, towing the line as well. You're not going to listen to us, we'll get rid of you. Yeah.
But you're literally changing people's vibrations. When you're out there talking about love and unity, you're putting a wrench in their plans. So you're literally affecting people with your words. The cult of Brad. Sorry. Please fucking don't, dude. You will get lost very quick. I tell you that.
Poncho's great. Poncho's great.
Yeah. You will get lost very, very. Oh, I got the V-neck shirt on too. I gotta I gotta get like beads or something to make it look like this is a Target shirt, by the way. This is a $5 Target shirt. So.
Fantastic. Well, Brad, I don't know. Thinking we call it a night.
Yeah, I mean, and unless somebody wants to call in, man, and
yeah, let's throw the link on one more. So if anybody had any experiences, any shadow people, any Dogman, any UFOs. I know we kind of went down the realm of the conspiracy, which seems, like you said, it's a hot topic right now, but definitely would like to, if you had any of those experiences that we talked about earlier, would love to have you on.
Thank you for my nice Target shirt. The older I get, the more I shop at like Walmart for $5. Like, it used to be when I was a kid, if you shopped at Walmart, you were they called them Bobos. You had Bobo shoes and Bobo clothes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was like we got picked on for having. But now I'm like, shit, I want a $5 t-shirt. Why would I pay, $50 for the same polo t-shirt whenever I can get one from Walmart without the logo for, $5? That's crazy, man. So yeah, I buy t-shirts a lot. I buy a lot of colored t-shirts.
I'm actually gonna go get some of my own T-shirts made up here with my logo on, and go get some of them done up locally, because ordering them through my website, it's fine. Oh yeah. So if anybody's looking for any shirts or merch, let me pull that up. Let's pull it up here. By all means, go check it out. I'm not, because the shipping here is ridiculous. So ship
You're
down to
gonna be
Mexico.
you're gonna be doing more Patreon members only stuff too.
Yeah. I'm gonna move to Patreon a little bit more, because YouTube. Okay, so for those who don't know what's going on with YouTube with me, so YouTube has to mail you a pin to continue with the monetization of your channel. And hey, I love doing this. It is awesome, but making a little bit of money is also fantastic. So, so they have to mail you this pin. But in Mexico, the mail system is absolutely broken. It's the worst. So. So what happens there is they send you out this pin, and I've been waiting since June for it, and you have to like resubmit every 3 weeks. You have to resubmit and say, I need it again. But I kind of messed up in the first bit. I waited like 2.5 months, 3 months, and then I actually submitted for it. I was like, oh, I need it again, and I need it again. So I just did my final submission for it, and now we'll see what goes on. Yeah.
Can I, before we close out, man, can I share one thing?
Please,
I'm trying
please.
to find an image that I sent myself earlier. So give me 1 second. There it is. I had to down. I want to get your opinion on it. You may or may not have seen this. I'm not sure, but I want to get your opinion on it, and the opinion of other folks listening. All right, because this is in my hometown where I'm from, and I'm going to share it right now.
Okay.
We'll close it out with that, I guess, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's fantastic. Now everybody's talking about the classic V, man. Everybody's talking about the classic V shirts.
All right, sharing. Okay, so what we got here is, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up something on my side. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but let me pull this over a little bit. Pull this out. All right. Can y'all still see this picture of a porch?
Yep. Yeah. I'll see the picture of the porch.
Okay, so this is a porch from the town I grew up in is about 1,000 people, and of course it's on the 33rd parallel. But do you notice anything weird about this porch, or about anything in this picture? Like, what can you point out about this picture?
There's no railing. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see anything. The extra post, but I don't know why they need an extra post there. But
okay, well,
maybe.
I'll just give it. I'll make it easy for you guys. Okay,
please go. Or this kind of like thing off on the right hand side, this blur on the right. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so you see this light post right here? Can you see my mouse circling it?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a light post. Okay, so what is this? This is not a light post.
Oh, okay.
It's like a circular disc shape, right? It's a disc shaped light. This came from a lady from my church, by the way. She's
okay. So that's not like a light shooting into the trees.
No, that's
what it looks like to me.
This is a light that's in her yard, and she doesn't have a light there. The only light that she has is this light pole right here.
Oh, okay.
And this right here to the right, if you see the outline of a head and a body.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like a big like bulging head, actually.
Yeah, like
almost
ET.
Almost like an ET or a fetus, almost like
almost like a fetus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like ET from the movie ET, right? It's like
okay, fair enough.
Long neck, big head, and you can see the big eyes here. That's what I see. I would like to know what your viewers see. So that's the interesting part to me. I want to know what you guys think. To me, that looks like an entity that just left off its ship and vibrated into reality on this porch right here. And it was caught on Ring camera.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, let us know in the comments for sure.
Yeah, let me just turn so it looks like I'm looking at the display right now. But yeah, so anybody in the comments, what do you think about this little blur in there?
This is a 100% real picture from a real person that I personally know. So,
and this light off in the trees there, which I thought it was like a big lamppost blasting a big light into those trees, but you're saying that's something more.
Yeah, well, you see the lamppost off to the left over there. That's what it actually looks like.
So yeah, I saw the face as soon as the photo came up. And then BJ Lapierre, what does she say? I think that is very cool. I see what you just described. Local Squatch, Pareidolia.
What is that?
Hey, Pareidolia is when you see something that's not really there in something. That happens a lot. That's like when you get all like the red circles. That's what I think it happens a lot in the Sasquatch community, where people take a picture and it's just like full of these red circles everywhere. Oh, this is it. This is that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which it can be as well.
Well, this was weird enough for a church lady who's very by the Bible to show my mom, and then my mom showed me. She's like, because this woman wouldn't ever be like, hey, this is just some odd, There was something that happened too around that time. I can't remember the story, but there was something about somebody had died recently or something, and then that happened. So that's an interesting take on it too. But you see faces in different things. I definitely agree. The only thing that I can't square the circle on is that light that's in the middle. That's a light glowing in her yard.
So it's nothing to do with the red circles. It is seeing things in images that they're not there, that your brain perceives as things that it recognizes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. Local Squatch. That is exactly what I'm saying. People see things and they put these red circles around them. That's what I'm talking about. So now
we can stop sharing. Yeah.
No, that's all right. So what I see actually is a like that one thing over there. It could be just a refraction. It could be a lens flare from that big light. What we see on the right, it could be that, but it's not discrediting that there's a big freaking light where there should not be a big freaking light.
Right. Yeah. So that's the whole point. And that's what weirded her out enough to where she's like, I got to share this. See, I'm more
an infrared reflection off a metallic object, but no, not what we saw in the back though. Like possibly like that mist on the right, maybe could possibly be explained away, maybe with like a lens flare or something. But that big light in the back, no.
And the blob has eyes. Yes, that's what I think too. And I realized that I'm very like, I'm not a skeptical person. I'm open to believe just about anything, but I'm also very guarded by what I accept as truth and reality and things like that. And sometimes it has to do with the person that it's coming from, like if it's like, I have a friend who loves to boast and exaggerate and things like that. So if he told me, I would be like, but this is coming from the one of the keyboard players in our church, right? It's not like coming from, we're not talking about some kook. We're talking about someone who's been playing the keyboards for 40 years at the church. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough. No, there's it's great that they're sharing that. There's a reason why they're sharing that, is because they know that perhaps maybe you're not going to get an answer, but maybe you're not going to ridicule them. You will look at it honestly and without like the judgment that many people get with these kinds of things, because a lot of people don't share these kinds of things because they're afraid of the ridicule, because that's what's been programmed into us, is to ridicule people who think differently than what we've been programmed to do.
Yeah, and I know my house, right? I know my house front to back, up top to bottom. Like I can tell you if something is off, especially like I've been driving the same truck for 20 years, especially with my truck. I know my truck like the back of my hand. I mean, it's pretty, like if I know every sound and creak and crevice it, has. And so anytime something's off, I just know. So that's kind of, again, that lends to the credibility of what I'm trying to say about that lady, is that she's been living in the same house for a long time too. So I would assume she knows when there's a weird light, hovering in her yard or whatever the case is. So
exactly. I could not agree more with you.
Can I ask you one thing?
Mouse is coming on. Mouse is coming on. If you're game,
Yeah, come on, join us. You know, it's funny because the more UFO videos and stuff I see, the less interested I become in them.
really?
Yeah, do you not get that at all? Like I see orb, like what's the guy's name again? I've talked about him before. The Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe, that can just interact with these entities in the sky all the time. You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Oh, he wrote the book UFO of God, and he interacts with UFOs every day. He's in like North Carolina.
Oh shit. Okay. I don't actually.
Well, he can interact with them, and I follow him on Instagram, and every night he goes out and interacts with these things. And
really?
Yeah, at this point, I'm just like, yeah, big deal. I don't know.
Maybe I do know. Maybe I do know what this one is. Yeah. All right. Hey, Mouse, what's going on?
Well, first I want to apologize. I don't know if Sunny Cat's still there. I had a pop-up come up on my tablet and accidentally deleted a couple of his comments. I tried to exit out of the pop-up instead of that.
Oh.
I apologize in the chat, but I didn't see him, so I don't know if I accidentally blocked him too, or if I just
oh god,
accidentally deleted the chat.
That reminds me of PG. That happened to PG as well. So let me go back and see if it's Sunny Cat. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Sorry about that.
It happens. It happens. And
yeah,
and if they are blocked, I'll figure it out and I'll rectify that soon.
Yeah, but it honestly was an accident, and I own up to that.
It happens. It happens, Mouse. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Well, you do an awesome job. I mean, you know, like if you mess up once, who cares? You know, you can't be perfect 24/7.
Oh,
you know?
There we go. Here we go. See, Sunny Cat, isn't it? They said it's okay. So they're not. Sunny Cat's not blocked. I know this happened. Actually, PG was blocked on my friend Matt's channel. It was an accident where we accidentally blocked her instead of someone else. And yeah, we kind of kept on bugging PG about that. But yeah. All right.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was some good times. Good times. So Mouse, what's going on? You said you wanted to share something about Abe's live or something like that?
Yeah, so a while ago I had been talking in the YouTube comment section. It might have been your channel or someone else's, I can't remember. And I was talking about that dream. I think I talked about it last time, where I had the nightmare of the demon.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was watching Abe's channel, which after that I'd been told by other people that people tend to have experiences when they watch his channel, apparently. I didn't know that.
Okay, that's interesting.
But so I had talked about it, and I didn't think much of it because I had talked about it a lot and nothing had happened. So I'm thinking nothing's gonna happen, but that time something did. So I'm thinking it's related, but I don't know.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I was watching his channel. He was doing a live, and I just happened to see it, so I popped on, because occasionally I pop on the other guys' channels when I see them on, but not always, because it's hard to keep up with like 100 different people. So I was watching his live, and all of a sudden I wasn't where I am now, because now I'm home, but I was at the shop by myself. And I was upstairs, downstairs, the front door was locked, everything. And I hear a scratch on the door. So I think, okay, maybe the neighbor's cat got in. And I ignored it for a little bit. Because I'm like, maybe the neighbor's cat got in, or maybe I'm just, didn't really hear that like I thought I did. And a little bit later, my phone, which was plugged in, started, instead of charging, the battery was draining really fast.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's going on? And I felt like I wasn't alone, so I just spoke out loud. I'm like, you are not welcome here, you need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I did that, my phone went back instantly to charging, and I started hearing footsteps going down the stairs.
Whoa.
Whoa, really?
And yeah, so the door doesn't lock on the upstairs, but I was like, I'm not looking through, opening the door and looking, and I didn't go back downstairs until the next morning, and the front door was still locked and no one had been there. And it's mostly a gravel driveway, so if anyone had pulled up and that had a key and was messing with me, I would have heard them.
You live by yourself?
No, but I was staying at the shop, so I was by myself at that time, because no one else was at the shop with me. I was working late, and there have been a few other instances where I've had weird things happen at the same location. Like, one night I heard this really loud crash, and when I went down there the next morning, there was a can of Diet Coke on the floor. And I told someone else, and she's like, that was a ghost, we're not talking about this. And I'm like, that's weird that she said it like that. Because
Wow,
I figured,
okay.
yeah.
What do you? Is that place near water, like running water, like flowing water?
Good question.
It is.
Always is, right?
Actually, it has, I don't want to say a river because it's really small, but it has like a drainage that goes under the driveway. And when it rains, sometimes the whole driveway will flood out on the other end because it's a big commercial space. So there's a bunch of buildings in the same, on the same property. And
is there like a lot of electric power lines around, or like substations or anything nearby?
there's a lot of power lines because they go to all the buildings, and there's a lot of commercial buildings there.
Right.
So
flowing
there's
water.
a lot of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's always electric. It's always something electric or magnetic related. Flowing energies that water is what creates electricity that we use in our house, like flowing water over dams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's and has other people talked about other incidents at the shop as well? Like, have other people had any type of experiences there? I know the one was like, oh, that's a ghost, we're not talking about it. But if they're saying that means that maybe they know something, or they've had some experiences they just don't want to talk about.
I'm not sure, because that was the first time she has said something like that, and she hasn't really shared anything. And as far as I know,
in all, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mouse.
Sorry. I haven't had anyone else that's come up and said anything, and I haven't really talked about it. But that one time, I'm just like, it was weird. That soda must have fell, even though I thought it was sitting on the shelf where it wouldn't fall. And then that was the first thing she said instantly, without missing a beat. Oh, it's a ghost, we're not talking about that. And I'm like, that's interesting that you're gonna say that. I mean, maybe she was joking, but it just seemed like the tone she took wasn't really a joking tone. So I'm like wondering about that.
Well, they're like a lot of people won't be forthcoming saying, oh, there's a ghost. That's something that a lot of people like to keep to themselves, because first of all, like I was saying, they don't want to be ridiculed, or they're embarrassed, or they're scared.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or all the above.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it didn't take you or anything. I'm glad did you say the name of Christ? Or did you just say
no, I just
welcome
told you're not welcome here, and then instantly the cell phone went right back to charge, and right after I said that,
it's all about
the air
consent.
seemed to get lighter, and then I heard those footsteps going down the stairs. I've
prayed like for a bubble of light around my family, around my property, around my family's property. So I feel like there's this force field of light energy protecting our family. And, so I try to fight these things before they even happen in a way through prayer, and I think, I've mentioned Tony Merkel before. I think he has, preachers bless different doors with holy water and stuff like that, just to make sure that nothing can come through, and
I think it's extremely important to do that, especially, okay, like if you guys are watching a show, and I see everybody talking about Abe's show, maybe Abe is not actually protecting himself as how he should be, and I'm not calling him one way or the other, but I'm just saying that maybe he's inviting these things in, and you yourselves need to protect yourselves as well. If he's imitating these sounds or doing something or calling in these spirits, and maybe he's protected himself, but it doesn't mean like this device that we're all using, like we'll say this here. This is a scrying device. This is, a black obsidian mirror is what we use for scrying. We are making communication devices for things on the other side. So be very careful. Make sure you guys protect yourself as well. Watching my show, protect yourself, say a little prayer, say something, you are not welcomed here. Nothing can come through. Nothing will affect me because I have stated so.
I mentioned Skinwalker Ranch. Some of the researchers on that show say that these things follow them home. From the ranch to their house in Alabama or wherever they're from. And so I think that's the point, is they probably don't tell these things you're not welcome here. I don't see them pray on the show. They don't ever pray and try to get these things away from them. So I feel like that's a very important part of it. Like Rye said, is like, you gotta arm yourself with the word of God, right? This is like, what is that? Ephesians 5 or whatever it is. Arm yourself with the word of God. And that's what that means, is like protect yourself in every way from all these entities. That is why I wear my crystals. Yeah, I mean, but also, does crystals, can crystals bring about energy too? That's not good, because I've heard like the crystal skulls, saying, bringing demonic energies and stuff.
I think it's all what you put into those crystals. Like the crystals come off a lot of times as neutral or producing energy or protective energy. But if you drain them, or if you infuse them with something, they are a tool, and it's how it's being used that's very important. Like we know that quartz crystals are used in computers now. Like they're using quartz crystals in computers for memory storage. So that's what that is. That's what those crystal skulls were. They are a memory storage. Is it good? Is it bad? Depends on who's storing that information, who's storing that type of energy within them. Yeah, and
it's like if you.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Mouse. No, go ahead, please.
It's like if you get them secondhand, you can unintentionally bring stuff in, so you have to cleanse them and whatnot.
Yes, make sure you do cleanse them. But be careful how you do it. One way to cleanse them very easily is salt. A salt bath is a very good way to cleanse it, and grounding them as well. Yeah, and I agree with you, VJ, is black tourmaline, very, very good. And I actually had a dream about black tourmaline as well. So that is very interesting. One of these days, I should have a maybe I'll have BJ the Piero on, or someone to talk about crystals. Like I used to be really, really heavy into them. Not so much now, but because when I moved, I had to really cut down my collection, and I could only take a little bit. But yeah. But Mouse, thank you so much for sharing. Is there, Brad, do you have any other questions?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, BJ seems like a very knowledgeable person on something like that. There's also a girl named Tiffany. I can't remember her last name now. She's Holistic Healing of Strongsville, Ohio. She's been on my show before. She has a show called Rooted Frequency. I can't remember her last name, but she would be a good person to talk to as well. She's all, and I thought about inviting her on to one of the live shows soon, so maybe we could talk to her then.
Definitely. Yeah. So, Mouse, do you have anything else you want to share or anything like that?
Well, there was a few other times I've experienced things on that property. Actually, we had a shop in a smaller building and ended up moving. which I'm surprised I didn't have more experiences because I was told the guy that had rented it before us had passed away in the building.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. So, one time, I don't know if I actually saw it or not. I'm very big on questioning myself with experiences, but I swear one time there's a little bridge that comes up next to and kind of behind the old building. And I swore once I saw a translucent girl run across the bridge.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
Yeah, and she was kind of like glowing white, and I turned, and then when I actually turned, because it was in the corner of my vision,
Yep.
she kind of disappeared when I was more looking straight at her.
I often wonder about that because a lot of times we do see things out of the corner of our eyes. Everybody, it's like, oh, I saw that out of the corner of my eye, and then you look directly and it's gone. You know, is it the refraction, or how are we able to see those things? Because I see things all the time out of the corner of my eyes.
Projections. These are projectors.
But how does that work though? But if they're projectors, how are we then not able to see it when we look directly in that way though?
I don't know. No,
That's
but maybe
interesting.
it's like yeah, I don't know. I can't explain that.
No.
Like a projection over the what's actually there.
Yeah, that's right.
It could be. Maybe we're, you know, our mind cancels it out though, because like now we're actually giving it attention, and you know, like unconsciously we're kind of looking out of the sides of our eyes, and that's where we're able to see these things. But if we're you know, like actually consciously looking at something, that's why sometimes things disappear. Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know. Awesome. Well, Mouse, I want to say thank you so much again. You know, I want to say thank you for always being our moderator here. You do a fantastic job. You make a mistake sometimes every now and then. It happens. It happens. But I want to say thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate everything you do.
No problem, but it's always good to own up when you are the one that makes the mistake. That's the important thing.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You know, it really shows a good character when you're able to do that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mouse.
All right.
See you, Mouse.
Bye.
Take care.
That was awesome. Mouse is amazing.
Yeah, she's extremely sweet.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm sure you're hitting a wall. You know, it's after midnight. You must be getting tired. I'm starting to get tired. You know, we're hitting 2.5 hours. I think we're good. I think we're golden. It was a great show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I love these things. I'm always grateful to come on, man. I really am. I tell like there's always this, like whenever I was on Tinfoil Hat, you know, my brothers were picking on me. They kept saying I was very apologetic and thanking them so much, and I said, because you guys don't understand, man. It's like I'm very grateful. I'm overly grateful for the, you know, for anybody who's willing to listen to me run my fucking mouth. Okay, like if anybody wants to listen to me talk, I appreciate that, man, because that means something to me, because I'm, you know, what I have to say, it feels like what I have to say is important. So even if it is, even if it is or it isn't, it just makes me feel good to get it off my chest. So, you know, I'm grateful for that. So thank you for the opportunity, man. I really appreciate that.
No, I think it's awesome, man. I really enjoy your insights on this, and you know, us doing this together, I love it. I think us working together is awesome. You know, I really wish Matt would have showed up today, but and I don't mean that as a shot out to him. I know we all have busy lives. We're all doing stuff, and it just would have been great to have him here. But sometimes things don't work out, and that is what it is. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for showing up and you know, being part of our chat. And again, you know, we're going to be doing this again in the future. We always will. And if you guys have more stories or experiences like Uncaged, I know you said you had some, or BJ Lapierre, by all means, you know, next time we have the show, please make sure you guys show up and come onto the show. And if you're not getting that notification, make sure that notification bell is rang, and you know, so that you don't miss out on these lives.
Yep. And guys, please follow me on Spotify if you don't mind. I'm at the Awaken Podcast, basically
Brad,
everywhere.
If you want to share your your link in there, you can now.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll just do a link tree link. It's
Okay,
my own personal link tree, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Please do that.
But yeah, those reviews, man. Like I said, those reviews really help me out, and they mean a lot. Because for whatever reason, I'm not getting any kind of ranking on listen notes, but I do have a good follow. I have a following, more of a following than some people, and I'm still not getting any kind of, oh man, my computer will not let me do anything right now. It's the awakenpodcast.com/links.
Just go there, guys.
Yeah, just go there and follow me on those and give me reviews if you don't mind. I really appreciate that. Yeah. You guys are always awesome. I really appreciate your allowing me to be here and talk to you guys. So thank you.
Awesome. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And like I always say, keep your curiosity wandering, keep the light lit, and always find your way home. I look forward to our next adventure together as we navigate the mysteries that lie ahead. Until our paths cross again, keep your curiosity wandering, keep the light lit, and always find your way home.